boys? Yes, sir. Let's do it. 7 to 7:50. Turn it over to Wake Up Woodward. The Woo Crew. Woo woo. Oh, we got 25 people in the chat already. Entertaining people. This is good numbers yesterday. People like our banter. I was getting ripped in the comments for trading for a tackle. Ripped. 59. Let's do it.
Can't live in fear. You fellas out there ready? 1, 2, 3, fight!
Great. Sex. Raiders lost.
They called about him, so at least Lions haven't given up on it.
They're playing them all against each other. Oh, do you want us to give you a fourth for Zadarius Smith? Just so you know, the Raiders are dangling Crosby. He's available now. I send it, baby. Let's start this show. Are you giving up 3 first-round picks for Crosby? Well, there's 3 second-round picks, basically.
It's game day, Detroit. You're waking up with Woodward and Lane, your source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champion Detroit Lions. With insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit. It's now time for Woodward and Lane.
Happy morning, good morning. This guy's really happy.
You know it.
I know.
It's Victory Monday, Terry.
It seems like every Monday's a victory Monday.
It does seem like that because it is. Lions are 7-1.
I know. You know, I said that the Lions must win every game.
They must.
They're winning every game.
Literally. I know a lot of people predicted a really good season, but to be 7-1 at this point, now 2 straight wins on the road in division. Terry, this team's right up there as one of the best, if not the best football team in the NFL.
They're up there.
Yeah.
Now, I have a soliloquy for you.
The floor is yours.
All right. Covering the NFL for many, many, many years, I've seen a lot of different defenses. I've seen the Tampa 2 defense. I've seen the cover 2 defense.
Cover 2.
The cover 3 defense. The all-out blitz defense.
Send them.
Now we've got a different defense with the Detroit Lions. It is called the bitch please defense. All right?
Explain this one to me.
You got to play without your best defensive player in Aiden Hutchinson. Bitch please. You just go 3-0 after that. Then you get Brian Branch ejected in the Green Bay game. Bitch please. You get Kerby Joseph to pick off a pass, which I predicted yesterday, and you keep winning. You have a defensive coordinator who can't see. You have a blind defensive coordinator because all the stuff and
the fog and the rain.
Fog is on it. Oh, yeah. He can't even see. Bitch, please, it doesn't matter. All right? So when you look at the totality of this thing, Lions, best team in the NFL. Now, 24-14 over the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Now, I had a famous rant where I said, let the bitch walk. Let's expand that today.
That's an all-timer, Terry. We're expanding today.
Expand it.
All right.
Walk your ass back to Chicago, Bears. Walk your ass back to Green Bay, Packers. Walk your ass back to Minnesota, Vikings. Walk your ass back to San Francisco, 49ers. Because this is the best team in the NFL right now.
It is.
They're kicking people's ass, taking names, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you know what?
What?
I'm sorry. I started this show a little bit rude because the Lions are actually classy. And I just shouldn't say bitch, please. Here's what I shouldn't just say bitch, walk your ass to Chicago. Let me rephrase that. Bitch, please walk your ass back to Green Bay.
Let's go.
Bitch, please walk back to Philadelphia.
Give me another.
Bitch, please walk your ass back to San Francisco. And now I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble. Bitch, please walk your ass back to Kansas City.
Let's go. Let's go. 2-time defending Super Bowl champs.
Right. This is the team to beat. The Detroit Lions, the team that I made fun of for decades, are the team to beat now.
They are.
I mean,
They are. They're playing the best football in the NFL right now.
right. And they had their they had their moment yesterday where it was like, okay, let's pack in the tents. When Brian Branch got ejected, and we can discuss that, whether he should have been ejected or not. I always hate to keep bringing them up, but previous Lion teams was like, damn, we don't have our best defender. Our edge rusher is at home. Let's pack up the bags, fellas. We're done. Because we're playing in the mud. We're playing in the cold. We got a blind defensive coordinator. Dan Campbell's going through towels like you go through toilet paper when you got the runs. I mean, it was crazy yesterday.
Terry Mack Smith in the chat says, oh, man, Uncle Terry's up early. Go Lions.
Right, absolutely. And here's the other thing. Bitch, please.
Oh.
Which one was the
On
dome
fire.
team and which one was the outdoor team yesterday? I got confused.
That's a great question. It looked like the dome team, like it's the outdoor team.
Right.
The outdoor team was the dome team.
Right.
The Packers looked sloppy.
They looked sloppy. They made, what was it, like 10, 12 penalties. They were dropping passes.
So many. Jordan Love did his best Brett Favre impression, throwing
Right.
that pick six to Kerby Joseph.
Well, that's youth. Or as Joe Pesci would say, Utes.
The Utes, my cousin Vinny.
When you're young, you feel you got to make something happen.
Yeah.
Jared Goff got into situations like that before. You know what he did? Tossed it out of bounds.
Yep.
No harm, no foul.
Punt. He threw it out of bounds on third down, leading to a punt. Jared Goff will take sacks to keep the drive alive. It's part of that evolution, that maturity of a quarterback in the NFL. And Terry, I've been told for the last 2 years, Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Jared Goff.
And you know what? He might be. He wasn't yesterday.
It wasn't the week before, and he wasn't
Right.
last year. He has never been yet. He might be in 5-10 years. Not
But
yet.
you know what that is? I blame that on you young people. Sample size.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, he had a great 4 games, or he had a great 7 games. He's the best of all time. You guys take sample sizes, tiny sample sizes, and you extrapolate them to gargantuan heights, and it's ridiculous.
That is a side effect of the Utes these days. The Easies of the world, Speakeasy Sports, who will do anything to downplay Jared Goff here in Detroit or at any point in his career because of 8 good games of Jordan Love.
Okay, I think we saw another wall get knocked down yesterday. You know, Jared Goff can't play outdoors.
So we were told. You know, he's got small hands. He's got little 9-inch hands coming out of Cal. He was a Golden Bear. Remember, there's a game his freshman year where he got yanked after the first quarter of a rainy game against Oregon because he couldn't hang on to the ball.
Well,
he
he
can't
does
play
have
in cold
tiny
weather.
hands. What's the little mitten guy?
Joe Burrow?
No, that's on the box of on some.
Keebler
Hamburger
Elf?
helper?
No. Hamburger helper guy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's
Who?
Jared Goff, but he's hanging onto the ball now.
Hamburger helper guy?
Look,
The glove, yeah.
look up hamburger
Oh,
helper.
that guy with the little mitt.
mitt,
Yeah.
right? You got little tiny hands.
Yeah. And the 5th picture down is a perfect one for Brian Branch. If you Google hamburger helper guy. He's got little baby hands. He's supposed to hang on.
Right.
He's supposed to drop the ball. Did he get better as it got rainier and colder?
That's what it looked like to me.
That's what it looked like.
You know what happened yesterday?
What?
When the Lions had the ball, it stopped raining, and it stopped. You know, that's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
But when you looked at the film, it was like ridiculous.
Yeah. Terry, it's a 60-minute ball game, but it was won yesterday in a period of less than 10 minutes. Like, Packers have the opening drive. They drive it down to the goal line, and the Lions hold them to a field goal. Cool, great. The next quarter, after Brian Branch's ejection, which we're going to talk about, Lions then get Brandon McManus. He misses a field goal, so ball don't lie here in Detroit. That's what we say
Right.
after that ejection. And then the Lions get the ball back with, about 5 minutes and 21 seconds? And what do? Here we go. They get it back 5:23 in the second quarter. They run a drive down. They take 4 minutes and 25 seconds off of the clock. And they put points on the board. They probably should have scored a touchdown, but they got 3 points. They give it back to Jordan Love with a minute left. Jordan Love and the Packers. Mm-hmm. And then what happens about 15 seconds later? Kerby Joseph picks it off, takes it to the crib, and they get 10 points in the matter of 30 seconds. And they get the ball to start the second half. The Packers elected to receive to start the game, so the Lions get the ball. And what do they do the first drive of the second half? They milk the clock down another 5 minutes and a little over 5 minutes. Jahmyr Gibbs, it's his drive. I think he ran for 50, 60 yards. They pounded in for a touchdown, 24-3. The game was over at that point. It was over.
And 2 words to describe all that.
What?
Bitch, please. They're bullies. They're the friendliest bullies that I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they punch you in the face.
And in the football while you're
then,
carrying it.
Then they'll come home, and if it's unnecessary to punch you in the face, they'll do it in a different way.
Yeah.
They'll pass. They'll get you with special teams. They've got everything rolling now.
They do. Wheezy D313, a little earlier in the chat, made a great comment about this Lions team, this Lions organization. Unlike most coaching staffs, Terry, they messed up letting this bunch of guys get continuity. They actually learned from the losing and the close games from these first 2 years. Now all they need is a pass rush crowd to get exposed. The NFL allowed this to happen. Let Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn and this coaching staff stay together for so long. Let them re-sign your Penei Sewells, your Lee McNeils, Amon-Ra's, Jared Goff's. Continuity. We're seeing the fruits of that right now. Dan Campbell said earlier in the season, wait till after the bye week till we start hitting on all cylinders. I think we're seeing that 401 offense that they've been hinting at for 2 years.
Yeah, they used the first 2 games as a preseason.
Yeah.
And they lost 1, but the bigger picture is to be better as you go throughout the season.
Yeah.
Now, one thing and I told you, don't freak out if they lose a game in September, because even when New England ever hear of a guy named Tom Brady?
I've heard of him.
Bill Belichick?
Oh, yeah.
Even when they were rolling, winning Super Bowls and kicking everybody's ass, they had around a 500 record in September.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, we're going to get our shit together. But when you play us in October and November, you got no shot. So I think the Lions are like, okay, it doesn't matter if we're good in September. We're going to use October, November, and December as our springboard.
Yeah. They want to be playing their best football going into the playoffs, which is something we want to be saying consistently every single year.
Now, can I answer a question that I get a lot from our younger fans out there? They always say, oh, T, have you ever seen this before with the Lions? Short answer is no. 1991, they weren't like this.
No.
1991, they weren't as this cohesiveness as this. In 91, when they, made it to the NFC Championship game, there was division on that team.
Yeah.
Not so much with the players, but with the players and the coaches in the front office. This is like a well-oiled machine. Mm-hmm. Real franchise.
It is, Danny G. They punch you in the face while smiling. LMAO. Crazy Clown in the chat. Oh, but the Lions can't play on grass, according to the experts.
That's true.
They're continuing. We got to troll them back because Lions have been the butt of every joke for the last 70 years.
And deserved it.
The last 70 years. And some of the records that they're breaking, accomplishes that they're racking up are mind-blowing. Big Cuz in the chat, Terry says, what up, Doe Broder and Unk? Great victory Monday. I love that beanie, by the way, Terry. This is Woodward and Main. I don't know if we even introduced the show. Woodward and Main Street. I'm sitting next to a Detroit sports media legend, Terry Foster. Always a pleasure. We got Chase Amley in the booth. What up, Chase? Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. And we have the legend himself, JB Smooth.
You know, JB,
Back
I
at it
was a
again.
little worried about you today.
Wow, what's that?
When you walked in here, you look like Fred Sanford.
Wait, what?
He was moving kind of slow.
He was.
I mean, it's still early, so I got to get my coffee, and then I'll
It's
be good.
early. You know what? This early in the morning, before I leave, my wife gives me instructions to, what to do that day. I forget all of it. It's too damn early. I haven't. She told me some stuff today. I have no idea what she was talking about.
You got lines on the brain.
Right.
You ever write them down on like a little grocery list,
Nah, I
little
don't have
to-do
time
list?
for that.
No,
Nah,
just
I don't do that.
Store it right here. Keep it
Well,
up here.
obviously, I'm not storing it right here because I keep forgetting it. Or actually, I don't even hear it. I'm not listening to her at 6 in the morning.
At what age does selective hearing like really start to hit you, where you hear what you want?
It's not an
Sorry,
age.
Mom and Dad.
It's when you get married. They say shit to you and like, I don't care. And you don't. It's not that you forget. It doesn't absorb in your head in the first place because you just think it's stupid. It's stupid stuff. So
why when you got married? What caused that? Like at that moment is when there's a click in your head. It's like
well, here's what I think. There's stuff that's important to women that are not important to you. And so when they start talking stuff that's important to them and not important to you, it just goes goop, goop, goop. You don't even hear it.
You're like, we only got 24 hours in this day. I only got enough room in this noggin.
What's with the peanuts when the teacher goes wah 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 wah? That's at some point you start hearing that from your wife. Still love her, but you wah 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 wah.
So would you recommend I get married or stay single the rest of my life?
You should probably get married at some point. It's
Fun.
fun.
Some point?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in.
You always have somebody to talk to if you feel like talking.
Fair. Are you ashamed, or I don't know your religious views, your personal faith, but Kerby Joseph, I don't see a baby mama, but he's made 2 Packers quarterbacks look like his babies. Like Kerby
his
Joseph
bitches.
is daddy.
Right.
He's now picked off Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. Huge picks in this rivalry.
So you admit it's a rivalry.
It's a rivalry.
Oh, okay. Because I think it's a rivalry might be developing. I said, dude, where you been?
You know what? I got lit up in the comments for the rivalry, not accepting that it was a true rivalry until the Lions got good, and also the Taylor Decker backup left tackle trade proposal.
You know what? Stop making fun of Broder for that, because I got something else. I think the Lions should trade for a kicker.
Why?
Because Bates might get injured.
He might.
So why not trade for a kicker?
I think we have a kicker on the practice squad. I might be wrong.
Yeah, but he's no good. Or he wouldn't be on the practice squad.
Most aren't good. You saw yesterday, Colby Sorsdale and Gio Manu were both inactive, healthy scratches. That's right after Skipper. Nothing.
And were they needed?
The offensive line played great yesterday, so I'm more calling myself out on maybe that wasn't the best thought, but I'm worried about tackle depth.
You know what, dude? Sometimes before you open your big trap, you should come over to Uncle T and say, Uncle T, should I say this? I said, hell no. What's wrong with you?
I'd rather you just rip on me live on air in front
I
of
like
the world.
that better. No, keep saying stupid stuff because I enjoy that.
It's entertainment, baby.
It is.
But we woke up and Zadarius Smith wasn't a Lion. We woke up and Myles Garrett or Max Crosby wasn't a Lion. But Max Crosby and the Raiders lost. He made some comment. Terry, all of the teams lost.
Everybody with an edge rusher lost, and that's good for the Lions.
It is good for the Lions.
But I told you there would not be an edge rusher here Monday morning because basically Brad Holmes, who's probably at the game somewhere, he's got to get up, pack and stuff, come back to Detroit. Probably wasn't on the phone much yesterday. Was on a plane.
Yeah.
If something is announced, if something happens, it'll be this afternoon, probably late afternoon.
Think so.
Right.
The question is it just Zadarius Smith? Are they expanding this because all of these teams with
here's what
elite
we
edge
know.
rushers lost?
The Lions, even though they're told they have no shot at Max Crosby, they're making the phone calls.
They're making the phone calls.
Yeah. If you're told you can't do something, you do it anyway. You tried to do it.
Yeah, why not? The price just got cheaper. There's now an influx of edge rushing talent on the market, And if we're talking supply and demand, there's enough good ones where, all right, if Cleveland or Las Vegas is asking for the house for, the top tier guys, the Crosbys and the Garretts, all right, we can go bargain bin shopping, and it's not a discount player. It's that second tier a lot cheaper because there's so many available.
Right. I don't know your religious views, but here I'm going to say this. The Lions are not just good, but they're blessed.
Hashtag Blairs.
When I saw all the edge rushing teams lose yesterday, I'm like, damn, the Lions get breaks all the time.
Yeah. Browns, Raiders, Saints, Giants, Jaguars. The market is saturated. Do you want one edge rusher or do you want more than one?
So now you're getting greedy.
I'm getting greedy.
Of course you want two, but I'll settle for one.
Okay.
But the way this defense is playing, I think they can win the Super Bowl without an edge rusher. I think they're in the position where if people want the house or want everything for someone, they don't have to do it.
Winning the Super Bowl without that edge rusher, that's hard for me to grasp. Like, I think that's the missing piece to go from getting to the Super Bowl to winning it. But man, they showed yesterday, Aaron Glenn, he talked about him in the open. Aaron Glenn deserves as many flowers as anybody right now in Detroit.
You know who Aaron Glenn was yesterday?
What?
Mr. Magoo.
Tell me.
Mr. Magoo is this blind guy who, he's kind of feeble and whatever. Aaron Glenn, man, with his glasses, my brother can't even see anything. What play is he calling right now with those glasses all messed up?
He's like feeling Amik Robertson around him, like talking smack to Christian Watson or one of the. He's looking for someone to light up.
You know what he needs?
What?
He needs windshield wipers
on the glasses.
Oh, right?
On the glasses.
They got that.
They make those?
Yeah.
I think I've seen them. I didn't know if they were.
On and they go whoop 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 whoop.
Be the perfect game last night. He wasn't even phased for a second.
Mm-mm.
Terry, if I told you, let me make sure I get the time right. If I told you that with it was just over 9 minutes in the second quarter, 9 minutes left in the second quarter, Josh Jacobs had 76 rush yards. If I told you finished with less than 100 rush yards on the game, would you believe me?
No. I'd say here's Broder again, talking crap again.
Mm-hmm.
We need to shut him down. But it happened.
That's exactly what they did. He ended up with 95 rush yards on the day. 76 through the first 15, 21 minutes of the game. Finished with 96. You know what that means, though? Do you know what the last time that the Lions gave up a single 100-yard rusher? They've given up 100 yards rushing to a team since then, but the last 100-yard rusher was 681 days ago. It was December 24th against the Carolina Panthers. Remember that game?
Oh, they just crushed them.
They had two running backs who rushed for over 100 yards, Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman. They haven't given up a 100-yard rusher in over 2 years, in 681 days. I didn't think it was going to happen again. The streak continues.
Right.
But that's that's a Lee McNeil and DJ Reader carrying the torch yesterday.
Lee McNeil was a bastard yesterday. I mean, they had to hold him, they had to bite him, they had to do everything because this dude was like a bull.
He was in the backfield. He was taking residence in the backfield yesterday.
Maybe
not always making the tackle,
edge.
but he was forcing stuff to happen. They had no pass rush yesterday. Like, Lee McNeil was the disruptor, but I think they had 2 QB hits on the day, very little pressure, but they were able to affect Jordan Love enough to force him into some bad throws, some bad decisions because he's a Ute, even though he's like 26 or something.
Yeah, but he's only been a starting quarterback for 2 years. He's a Ute.
He's been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for, seems like the last decade.
And
yes.
Aaron Rodgers famously said, I'm not helping him.
No.
So, he wasn't getting that love and stuff from
Pun intended. Pun intended. Also, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, it was that same year in November of 2022 where the Lions beat the Packers at home at Ford Field. The next game, remember, there was the snowy game to end the season, keeping them out of the playoffs. But that November game, Aaron Rodgers says, yeah, we can't be losing to that team. Since then, they're 29-9.
And they're that team now.
Yeah, that team that the NFL is scared of. Literally, not just the NFL teams, the NFL, the whole organization. They don't want Brian Branch on the field for this game. We already lost our best defensive player, the Lions did. So let's just make a decision out of nowhere to eject Brian Branch after a penalty. It was a penalty. Let's talk about this. It was unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. They go and review it. New York calls in and says, hey, eject him. They kick him out of the game.
First few times I saw it, I thought it was unjustified. He should not have been kicked out. But then as it saturated and I saw it again, I'm like, you know what? That was probably justified.
Yeah.
He had time to stop. He lowered his head into the wide receiver. So I'm okay with the ejection.
You're okay with the ejection?
Yeah.
See, the ejection is where I can't decide. I understand the penalty call. I understand you don't want to you want plays like that out of the game, but it was so close to a football play. Like I don't like seeing football players get ejected for making football plays like that. Like I know Brian Branch wasn't dirty. I think we need to look at his track record a little bit.
He didn't blast him.
What was that?
He did not blast him.
He didn't.
It was a tap.
It looked like he had enough time to slow up. He had, in slow motion, he had 2 full steps. You're like, man, we kind of see the ball pop out of the receiver's, hands, and then it's one more step in the hit. But Richard Sherman had a great comment on his podcast after the game, just talking about how hard it is to avoid leading with your head. Like that's how you run. That's how you move forward. If you have your head back, you can't really run forward.
Yeah, but Richard is always going to defend defensive backs.
Facts.
He was on the ground. He had 2 steps. He could have held up.
He could have.
Or he could have hit him with his shoulder or something.
But he went on to say that it seemed like it was a, quote, ridiculous abuse of power by the NFL for ejecting him. I don't know. There were some other rough hits yesterday in the NFL. Chris Olave hit, who knocked him out. He wasn't ejected. I don't know. You don't want to see any receiver get hit like that. You also can't go low. Kerby Joseph goes low, and the entire NFL calls him dirty. So it's a tough situation.
Or maybe it's just Matthew Stafford calling him dirty.
It was Matthew Stafford, yeah, and Vikings fans. Just them. But what's special about this team, Terry, is after that happened, and you referenced it in terms of the entire game, but Kerby Joseph picked his brother up. You get your defensive MVP, your best player on the field, ejected early in the game. You said the old Lions teams, they're losing that game. Kerby Joseph says, no, I'm going to go get a pick, and we're going to turn this baby around.
You don't have Hutch or Brian Branch. You're in the mud. You're in hostile territory. That's a loss. But the Lions were always in control of the game, even though they weren't in control of the stat sheet.
Yeah, they weren't, and that's a great point. I'm fascinated, guys, to see what Flannel and guys who focus more on the stats.
Oh, the analytic geeks. Oh my God, they drive me crazy.
I'm not going to throw Flannel under the bus. I love me some
throw
Flannel.
his ass under the bus.
I'm not going to.
This is saying,
guys, when you don't rush that way, you can't win games. Blah, blah, blah.
throw him under the bus because you know how he is.
I know how he is, but there's moments where Sam needs to be supported because he gets a lot of shit in the chat.
Okay, guys, here's what's going to happen. Blah, 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 blah. If you rush for 4.9 yards to carry, you can't win.
He's like a little cyborg.
I'm not going to disagree. But this is the perfect answer. This is the perfect answer to those who are anti-stats or understand there's another view to look at it. Because if you just look at the stats, you could almost say Green Bay dominated the game if you're just looking at the stats. But it doesn't take all the extra stuff, all the intangibles into consideration. I mean, the Packers had 411 yards to the Lions 261. They had 138 rush yards to the Lions 124. 10 penalties, 1 turnover, to the Lions 5 penalties, 0 turnovers, 3 touchdowns for the Lions, 1 touchdown and 2 field goals for the Packers. It doesn't tell the whole story. Lions didn't have the stats. Jared Goff was what? 18 for 22, 145 and 1 touchdown. But that's another efficient game out of Jared Goff, just getting the ball in the hands of his players. That's what the Lions do. They can beat you any way you want.
Right. And they kept it safe. Goff didn't go deep much yesterday, if at all.
If at all.
It was safe. Don't turn the ball over. He knew that was the key there. Now, if Flannel Sam, who I always tell, just look at stuff. Just don't go by stats. If he just looked at stats, he said, okay, guys, I want to get on here and talk about the Lions lost to Green Bay. How could this happen?
Yeah. Even Jordan Liner in the chat says, if you look at just stats, the Titans killed the Lions.
Correct.
This is how they do it. They beat you. They can beat you any way you want.
But to be fair, if you look at stats, the Lions beat Tampa Bay.
True.
But they didn't.
True. That's why to win a football game, it takes more than just stats. It
you know
takes
what the Lions did yesterday?
What'd they do yesterday?
The rope-a-dope. They're like, we're going to let you run up and down the field and have a good time, but you're not getting in the end zone until it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can have your trash touchdown, but when it matters, you're not getting in the end zone.
Yeah. I kind of wanted them to keep them out of the end zone there just for the aesthetic look of 24-6, but it is what it is.
24-14 and 24-6 both say the same thing. W.
Dub.
So it doesn't matter.
Dub. I got to revisit one point on the Brian Branch hit in the NFL because there will be varying degrees of people who, what people think of this play. But did you know, after each game, the NFL puts out official highlights of the game where they show, the best plays from the game, the game-changing plays. Usually they're mostly offense or scoring plays. What play do you think is in their reel of Lions?
Brian Branch hit.
Yeah. Kind of weird the NFL is getting clicks out of that play, but ejecting Brian Branch from the game for that play? I think it was one of their most viewed videos from yesterday.
Okay, yeah, but it's not. Back in the day, before we had ESPN and all this stuff, the NFL used to have these videos. It's on cartridge tape. Guys, you know what cartridge tape is?
No.
No, you don't. They would release these cartridge tapes, and it was the NFL's best hits. And they had guys blasting other people. And then they would find these guys. Although they made money on it by selling it, so because you wanted to see those big hits.
Right.
They would find these dudes for those big hits.
Right. There's a jacked up segment on NFL
Correct.
Live or on ESPN. It's gotten watered down, but they're still promoting this. Don't eject the man from the biggest football game of the year.
I can go with that, but I just have no problem with them rejecting him. I understand it, but it wasn't like he lit him up. Because a lot of guys, when they're in a defensive position, you can hear that crack.
Yeah.
Here, I just went boop. So, because it was a boop, maybe you don't eject him.
Mm-hmm.
But by the letter of the law, defenseless guy, helmet on helmet, NFL is going to reject.
Yeah. When you said Kerby Joseph was going to get an interception yesterday in the end zone,
well,
how did you know?
You know what? I'll be honest. I thought it was going to be in the end zone and he would take a knee. He caught it and then took it to the end zone.
Biggest play of the game.
Yeah, biggest play of the game.
He's a magnet for the ball and for the end zone, both once. He just gets pulled. He rarely gets tackled on the field of play. There's some other guys I want to talk about, but I think they're going to come out in our segment of who you would want to go have a beer with after this game, Terry. Lions win 24-14 in Green Bay. You want to go have a beer with two guys. Just ask them anything you want.
I'm having my beers with Brian Branch and Jared Goff. Brian Branch, because I want to ask him what he thought of that play. Was he pissed that he got ejected? Do you understand why that happened?
Mm-hmm.
And also ask him about his brothers who stood up with him gone and what he thought of their performance and stuff. Jared Goff, because lo and behold, I want to ask him, okay, dude, You're not supposed to be able to play well outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to be a game where you completed like 40% of your passes. You were efficient again. What type of role are you on? Do you, and this is the tough question for somebody to ask or answer, should you be in the MVP conversation?
This is why you're having a beer with him, away from the team, away from the media.
Right. So I can get the truth out of him.
You can get the real inside scoop. What do you think he would say behind closed doors, nothing recorded?
I think he would remain humble because you don't want to say those words.
Like a perfect game in baseball?
Right, because words come back and haunt you even if you just tell one person. For instance, when the Lions are rolling, I don't like texting you at halftime because there's always a second half and everything that you say, oh, the Lions are looking good and blah, blah, it can always disintegrate in the second half.
Right.
Now, somebody blew a 13-point lead in one quarter yesterday.
Yeah.
Pro athletes, you never know what's going to happen.
Lions blew a pretty big lead in the NFC Championship game last year.
They did.
You never know what's going to happen.
And you know what jinxed that?
What?
Lion fans were in front of the computer
Yep.
making plans for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Oh, we're going to Vegas. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't happen that way.
Didn't happen.
Or
CJ
they were
Rick.
already in San Francisco and like, let me cancel my flight to Detroit. I'm just going to book this rascal to Vegas.
Book this rascal to Vegas. They were taking lead from C.J. Gardner-Johnson just before halftime, acting like the game was over when it wasn't.
Oh, that's your boy.
Not anymore. He was my boy. I defended that man, and he made me look stupid.
Well,
He made me look stupid. Also, some of the guys in the locker room told me they had he was a key figure on that team. Turned out not to be true. Jared Goff, Terry, in any 6-game span in NFL history, Goff has the highest completion percentage and the highest passer rating in NFL history. He's also the only player in NFL history to complete at least 80% of his passes in 3 straight games in a single season. He's doing things unheard of, things that have never happened before.
one word for that.
What?
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, just 80%. Dudes can't even hit 80% of their free throws in the NBA.
They can't.
That's true.
We used to look at stats and we're looking at 300-yard games, 400-yard games, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's not like racking up the craziest amount of yards, but completion percentage is the new sexy stat for me. It's what makes Jared Goff in this Lions offense special.
But you know what he's doing, and this is important. 3rd and 7, going back to pass. He's hitting those passes for 9 yards. Not sexy, but it's keeping those chains moving.
Yes. Or he's comfortable hitting on a 3rd and 8, you said? He's comfortable hitting St. Brown or running back to get 6 yards because they know they're going to go for it on 4th.
Correct.
That's part of the aggression, the aggressiveness of Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson going for it on 4th. Their 3rd down plays aren't always to get a 1st down. They're planning on going for it. The defense is planning on sitting right at that 1st down line, trying to make sure that they don't get across that. So we got Amon-Ra St. Brown open at 6 yards. Sometimes, usually, St. Brown will turn the corner and get the 1st down anyway. But if not, they're going to run the ball for the 1st down the next play.
Speaking of St. Brown,
Yes.
do you know that the last 30 times that Jared Goff has targeted St. Brown, you know how many completions they've had?
How many?
30.
It's disgusting. The
You find that disgusting?
in the best way. Like 30 in a row to one player. Tough catches too. Like St. Brown, he works the middle of the field. That touchdown catch, that play on 4th down, another Ben Johnson masterpiece.
It was.
Perfect route, perfect pass from Goff.
Can I make a confession?
Perfect toe touch. Of course you can, Usher.
When they decide to go for it on 4th down, I'm thinking, just take the damn points. What's
take 'em.
wrong with you, dude? And then that was a difficult pass pattern. And I'm like, y'all are going, I mean, the DB could have jumped the route, gone 105 yards for a touchdown. That was a risky play.
Faith.
But they're like, fuck it. We're the Detroit Lions. We're gonna
Exactly.
do what we feel like doing.
And a bad throw would have led to 6 points. Jared Goff put that perfectly, where only St. Brown could catch it or it's out of bounds.
Right.
Going for it also, what was on the 2.5-yard line, came after a penalty. The first play, well, I guess second play of the second half, they drew him off sides, got half the distance of the goal, and then run that play to St. Brown. Goff put it on the money.
Yeah, they're going to run that play regardless.
And then they did the St. Brown did the somersault or the
now what is
the
that
handstand.
What is that? The headstand.
He explained after the game he saw a college player do it, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of these details, Chase. And he explained as he thought it was cool. And then another player in the NFL, was he on the Falcons? Or was it Equinemius? Another player did it, and I think he just thought it was cool. I might be wrong.
I think you're talking about Drake London.
You miit be muted.
Yeah, I don't think your mic's on, Chase.
But I was going to have a beer with St. Brown and with Kerby Joseph. I want to ask St. Brown about what's it like working with that type of relationship and trust, the St. Brown and Goff connection. Also, there have been some pretty good receivers in Lions history, right? Calvin, some say is the best ever. Definitely top 3. No arguments there. Herman Moore. The list goes on. St. Brown, this was put out by Detroit Lions PR. He surpassed 4,000 receiving yards in 57 career games, the fastest player to reach the mark in franchise history.
And you know what? He has, it's not common with Calvin Johnson and Herman Moore.
What?
They were tall. Herman Moore, they used to hit him in the back of the end zone, the fade patterns and stuff. You can't do that with St. Brown, but he's just as productive, if not more. He's a little fella.
You can throw it to him anywhere. He doesn't have the height, but he's got everything else.
He's always open.
Always open. I also want to talk to Kerby Joseph because he's doing things that we haven't seen out of safeties in a really long time. Again, from Detroit Lions PR. He's the NFL's first safety to accumulate at least 14 interceptions through 3 career seasons since Ed Reed of the Baltimore Ravens did it from 2002 to 2004. It's also the 3rd most interceptions any Lions players had through 3 career seasons since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger. Kerby Joseph, he's working himself into the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. We didn't get to talk about it yesterday, but I wanted to ask you the question, can a safety win the Defensive Player of the Year award? And how are we going to choose between Brian Branch and Kerby Joseph?
Yeah, see, I think it's possible, but it may not happen with the Lions because Kerby Joseph and Brian Branch are going to split votes. And I know you're a Kerby Joseph guy. If I had to vote for one, I think I would go with Branch.
Yeah. I would have gone with Branch too. I think after the game yesterday, you got to put Kerby Joseph on top. And by the way, Big Cuz in the chat says St. Brown and Drake London. Yeah, wide receiver for the Falcons.
The Falcons,
teammates at USC. Drake London did it. They wanted to do that in college. I think he saw Drake London doing earlier in the day or last week or something. So that's where that came from.
Well, I liked it.
Me too.
I approve of it.
They're having fun out there.
Yeah,
like, this team is having fun.
I got into a little discussion with the wife. She's like, well, how come the Lions don't celebrate their touchdowns? I'm like, girl, where you been? They've done the row your boat.
Mm-hmm.
They've done Thriller. What else did they do?
Jahmyr Gibbs did a nod to, paid homage to Jacoby Jones last week on a 70-yard touchdown run with the little toss in the air. Rest in peace, Jacoby Jones. They like to celebrate. Goff and Laporta just throw the ball into the stands. The other guys like to dance. They have fun. The banjo from Jameson Williams after his catch against the Cowboys. What I remember last year, might have been against the Cowboys, or maybe it was the 49ers. J-Mo would keep full speed, which is 50 miles per hour, diving head first, Superman dive into the end zone, or St. Brown jumping over, trying to leap over defenders and flip-flopping into the end zone. I don't want him to get hurt.
I know, but you can do all this silly stuff to celebrate, right?
Yeah.
Which I like. Why can't you dunk over the goalpost?
I have no idea.
Dudes used to do that all the time.
Bring back touchdown dance. Let them do whatever they want. I mean, not inappropriate, but
This is not college.
I know, but they're at war, and they're scoring points. Let them celebrate. Let them have some fun. or at least give them some leeway so they're not, they're
No, they're letting them celebrate, but why is dunking not allowed? I don't get that.
I know there was a reason, but I don't understand. I don't know what. Or I don't know why. I don't know why. There's no reason it shouldn't be, Terry.
What, they're going to break the goalpost?
Maybe.
This is not Shaq dunking and breaking the stanchion in the NBA. This is a goalpost.
Send it in, Jerome.
I think it's for player injuries as it is. They just want to make it safe for them so that they don't, hurt themselves coming down off of dunking.
I don't know if I agree with that. I believe you.
Yeah.
There's much better things that the NFL can worry about. Terry, do you have, how we talked endorsements for Dan Campbell last week? Mm-hmm. Do you have a new one for him?
I do. Mr. Clean. Because very few penalties, no turnovers, clean. It was a clean game.
It was.
So he's Mr. Clean for yesterday's game.
Shout out to Taylor Decker and that offensive line. Am I right?
Oh, the guy that you want to get rid of.
I see. That's where we got off. I never said that. I never said that. And all the ammo fired at me in the chat comments. Post show down in the chat comments, not the live ones, although there were a lot of live ones too. They seem to think that I was calling for go trade for a tackle over an edge rusher.
How dare you?
Absolutely not.
No. And yours is still ridiculous.
Thank you.
He was trade for for a left tackle because in case Taylor Decker gets injured.
Yeah.
But you freaked out because he had a bad half last week.
The bad half got me thinking about it.
I know, but even when you said that, you said, well, I know he's going to turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's going to be better. I know he'll be all-pro caliber. So why did you freak out over one half?
Just in case he gets injured. This team is built so well. It's so deep. It's deep. They need an edge rusher or two more than anything. But how they've still managed to hold down the fort, not give up a 100-yard rusher, it's been special.
Okay, I want to be Matt Broder for a minute.
Oh, boy.
Hi, guys. Here's what the Lions should do next. They need to trade for a place kicker because Jake Bates might get injured. And they need those extra points. They need those field goals. And so let's give up draft picks for a kicker.
I mean, if they don't have one on the practice squad, you might as well get someone to stash. Saw Brandon McManus. He's been on like 7 teams already this year.
I'm going to be Broder again.
Hi, guys. I'm Matt Broder. Hey, what's going on, guys? Here's my trade proposal. I know the Lions need an edge rusher, but I think the Lions should trade for a punter because Jack Fox is really good, but he could get injured.
Not letting that stay on wax without a rebuttal.
Let's trade for a punter.
That's the best punter. Broder. That's the best punter in the NFL. I would never say such a thing. Ever. I just want
he could be
depth.
injured.
I just want some depth.
What's the punter depth like for the Lions?
No, they got nobody else.
Well, got to trade for a punter in Matt Broder's world.
Or they could just go for it on 4th down every time if they don't have Foxy.
Okay.
He's the best in the league. I say Dan Campbell should go after an endorsement with Jeep.
Okay.
You know what their slogan? Go anywhere, do anything.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they go through the mud, and they have those commercials where you splash it through the mud and the puddles and all that kind of stuff. I can live with that.
This team, they're built for this, and JB wasn't even planning on this, but you have that clip of Dan Campbell's 19 seconds press conference after.
Oh yeah.
Dan Campbell right after the game, it was like he was cutting a promo for Jeep. He's talking about they're built for games like that. Just because they're a dome team doesn't mean they're not a team that can also play outside, a team that can travel, a team that can get dirty if needed, a team that can beat you in a shootout or can beat you on the ground.
You know what's the thing we forget about the Lions?
What?
They're puppies. They're still puppies. They're still supposed to be learning the league. They're still supposed to be learning how to win. They're still supposed to be learning how to win on the road in the mud against a good team. They're babies.
They are. But their parents, their coaches, have been through this all before.
Yes.
And that's what's pushing this along maybe faster than what's normally expected of a team made of puppies.
They've grown up a lot, and they're motivated by, I'm going to say Dan Campbell's the best motivator in sports history.
You're going to go there already?
I can't think of anybody else.
I can't either, and I'm reserving saying that because there's obviously I haven't studied any other coaches this closely or been around them this much, but I can't imagine there's anyone better. I can't imagine. I'm gonna
can't think of
bail
anybody
on that
better.
video, JB, but he is. No matter where they go, after losses, they win It's been 2 years since they've lost 2 games in a row. On the road in Green Bay 2 years ago when the game doesn't mean anything. On the road in Green Bay this year when the game means everything.
Right.
Dan Campbell has them ready to go. It's so much fun to watch. So much fun. I know you won't admit this. It's fun to be a fan of this team. I
How about
love this team.
It's fun to be an observer of this team.
I'm cool with that. I'll accept that.
I enjoy watching them play.
We got week 10 coming up. Houston, the Texans aren't coming to town. The Lions are going to Houston. We're going to be talking about Sunday morning, Woodward and Maine kicking off our pregame slate for Woodward Sports Network next Sunday.
8 a.m. I'm going to be here.
You will. I will too.
Okay.
It's going to be a good game. Texans aren't playing as well as maybe we all thought they would at this point in the season. Their offensive line's questionable. We're probably going to be talking on Sunday about the Lions and a new edge rusher on this team trying to get after C.J. Stroud.
If it happens, it's going to be this afternoon.
Yes.
And there might be Foster representation at the game.
You're going to be there Sunday?
No. My son is in Austin, which I think is like 2.5 hours to Houston.
A little bit of a drive.
Yeah. He's got a car. He's got gas.
Gotcha.
So he's thinking about it.
All right. All right. Maybe
Nice.
he can remote in and we can get an interview with him.
That may not work well, but yeah, let's talk about it.
Deal. Terry, any last comments? We got to get out of here because Wake Up Woodward is up next in 10 minutes. Stay on the network. The show will be live in about 5 minutes. Any last words, Terry? 24-14 victory.
I am shocked from watching the Lions play for the last 50 years. I've never seen this before. I've never seen this mental toughness. I've never seen this focus. I've never seen this talent. I've never seen this ever. So, but I'm enjoying the ride. When I did radio, people always accused us we wanted to see the Lions lose. That wasn't true. We were tired of the same old thing. Tired of them blowing games. Tired of them disintegrating. Now, it's good to see real NFL football in this town, so I'm excited.
I love that.
Keep rolling.
Lions are top dogs of the NFL right now.
They are.
It's a weird feeling for a lot of Lions fans. I just don't think it's that weird of a feeling for the Lions down in Allen Park. I think Dan Campbell's got that team ready to go. I'm excited. Great show again, Terry.
Thank
Everybody, Wake Up Woodward starts at 8 a.m. live. We got Flannel, Kool-Aid, Chase. I saw Justin. Justin's in the building. We definitely got JB Smooth in the TD booth. But, Terry, as always, it was a pleasure.
And one more thing. Bitch, please walk your ass back to Green Bay.
Let's end it with that, Terry.
Right.
Woodward and Maine, we'll see you in, not a week. We'll see you on Sunday, 8 a.m. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit that like button on the way out. Tune in to Wake Up Woodward in 8 minutes. Have a great Monday.
Be good.